All right, we will get started. We are in a webinar, so your microphone won't work, but you do have access to the chat and to the Q&A. So we will get started. Welcome to our webinar with Bookshare. We have a tiny URL and the QR code that will take you to the home base. So we'll put that in the chat for you. And we'll get started with introductions. My name is Leah Padilla, and I am a coordinator on the Open Access project. And with me today from Open Access, we have Lori Balsano Wright, who is another coordinator, and Jill McCann, who is our program specialist, AT content lead specialist with Open Access. And we are excited that Laura Ronberg from Benetech is here with us to share more about Bookshare. So welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
And we just want to go over a few things before we get into our presentation today. At Open Access, we are dedicated to the principles of universal design for learning, ensuring that everything that we do is accessible. So a couple strategies that we are using today, we have high contrast text on clean, simple backgrounds. We also have the shortened link and the QR code, which will take you to the slide deck and resources. We also use alternative text for descriptions of all of the images. And then we will provide different options for participation and feedback. So please feel free to use the chat and the Q&A today. And then we just want to take a second to tell you a little bit about our project. So Open Access is one of the statewide special education resource leads within the statewide system of support. And we are grounded in the foundational belief that with access to quality instruction, all students can engage, actively participate, and learn within inclusive settings. So what makes our project unique is that we highlight the importance of learning and participation for all through universal design for learning, assistive technology, and augmentative alternative communication. So please bookmark our website so you have access to our free universal resources that are available in the areas of UDL, AT, and AAC. And then you also have access to our one-page flyer, which discusses our 3 tiers of support. So we have our universal supports through our website. We have webinars posted, different professional development trainings also that are offered, listed on our website. And then we also provide targeted supports, which include training and coaching and mentoring for schools and districts who reach out to us on a voluntary basis. So if districts are looking to build capacity in the areas of UDL, AT, or AAC, please reach out to Open Access and we can help support with implementation. And then we are also a provider of technical assistance for our intensive supports. So we provide support for 22 districts across the state of compliance that are identified as intensive level through the compliance and improvement monitoring process. And our ultimate goal is to establish showcase sites across the state to really highlight those wonderful inclusive practices and show them so people have a place to see them in action. So more to come on our UDL and accessibility showcase sites. And I'm going to pass it over to Laura.
Great. Thanks, Leah, and thanks for that great overview. So today I'll do a quick Bookshare overview. We did a part one of this webinar back in October, but I will do a brief overview and talk more about how districts can sign up for a Bookshare account, how you set up your account, and then best practices for implementing Bookshare in your school or district. So Bookshare is a free online ebook library funded by the U.S. Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs. So we know, schools, purchase and utilize a lot of different ed tech platforms. Some are quite pricey. The wonderful thing about Bookshare is that it is free. So keep that in mind, that it's free. The collection contains over 1 million titles, and that includes textbooks, popular children's and teens books, and much more. It covers books from pre-K, K-12, post-secondary, adult fiction, nonfiction, leisure reading. So a full collection of books for readers of all ages. The Bookshare books are available 24/7, 365 days a year. So unlike some of the other digital book libraries, the Bookshare books are always available. You don't need to wait for a title to be available. If someone else is reading it, and that is really great for students because they need their books, at the same time as their classmates without waiting to get access to the textbooks and other books that they need for school. Bookshare books are read on computers and Chromebooks, mobile devices, Braille devices, and other assistive technology devices that students might be using. So again, Bookshare is it's an assistive technology tool. It's accessible education materials all in one package. So it's the content and the reader tool where students can access their Bookshare books. And it fits in great into a UDL framework for those students that are identified as needing additional supports when it comes to literacy. Bookshare is a great tool for many of those students. To qualify for Bookshare, a person has to have a learning or reading difference, a visual impairment, or a physical condition that prevents them from interacting with traditional text. So again, unlike some of the other digital book libraries that any students can use, Bookshare does have this qualification component. So these are students who are having trouble with reading comprehension, decoding, perhaps they've been diagnosed as having dyslexia or a specific learning disability, or they have a visual or physical condition that interacts them from holding a book and seeing the text on the page. Students do not need to have an IEP or 504. Again, just Bookshare operates under a copyright law that says a person who is not able to access content the way other people can, traditional printed content, they are entitled to accessible versions of published works. So that's what Bookshare is. It's a library of published works, textbooks, fiction, nonfiction, the whole gamut of books. So keep that in mind with your students who are, reading below grade level, and it's been identified that they need additional supports. To sign up for Bookshare, it's very easy. It is done on our website at bookshare.org. There's a big sign up button. And educators can sign up either on behalf of their district or their school. Some districts prefer to have it done on the district level. Others want each school to have their own Bookshare account. But when you go to our sign up page on the website, this is what you would see. As you can see, for students and schools, it's free. It is always free thanks to that funding from the U.S. Department of Education. And a school or district would sign up their school in the school it says schools in the United States, but that can be a district as well. And when we go onto the website, I will show you this page again, but just wanted to give a preview of what that looks like. It's a very simple process. Everything is done just through the website. In a matter of minutes, you can have your Bookshare account and ready for students to get access to their books. So that's kind of the quick overview. I'm going to go onto the website now and show you what that looks like. One second. Come back. The PowerPoint is not wanting to, there we go. Okay, you should be seeing the My Bookshare page. I am logged in as a teacher. In our system, educators are called sponsors. So you create the Bookshare account, or if there's one for your school or district, someone who is already on the account may add you as a sponsor. And then once you are added, you can add your students. So under this members link, it pulls up the member roster. It's very easy to add your student. You just select this add member button. You fill in some basic information about them, their grade, name, birth date. They are given a username and password. That is how they access Bookshare. They log into the Bookshare website or a mobile device, and then they see their books that their teachers have assigned to them. Here you check whether they have a visual, learning, or physical disability. That is all that's required. We do not want you to send in any documentation or IEPs or assessments or grades, reading scores. It's simply check one or more of these boxes of how the student qualifies, and that's it. Again, we leave it up to you, the educators, to make that determination that the student is dealing with a visual, learning, or physical condition where interacting with just the standard text is not working for them. But if they had accommodations such as Bookshare, such as audiobooks or digital text with the audio, or for students who read in Braille or need large print, if they have those, their books in those formats, they are able to learn the content that they need for school. So again, those are the students who can use Bookshare. You enter that information, you hit save, and then they are added to your member roster. So students on their school or district account can only read the books that have been assigned to them. And the main way to assign books is called what we call the assign and read. So you would search the collection, which I'll show you in a minute, a couple different ways to search. You find the books and assign it to them. So this is something that comes up sometimes. Teachers are concerned that students might read books that they shouldn't, that are not appropriate for their age or grade level. But rest assured, they can only read the books that their teachers have assigned to them. So at the top of the page, there's a search bar. I just will type in Harry Potter to get a broad search. Sometimes it's a little slow over Zoom. See, it pulled up all the different Harry Potter books written about Harry Potter, 642. We have an advanced search page where you can search for a word in the title, books by a certain publisher, ISBN, books in different languages. There's a variety of different languages that you can read Bookshare books in, books by different categories. Say, you're working with a third grader who likes animals. You can just put that in and it pulls up a bunch of books. And again, when you click on the title, it will have a brief synopsis of the book. And then to get that book to the student, you simply select that assign button. It will pull up your member roster. You can assign it to all your students, a few of your students, hit that assign button, and then that book is instantly assigned to the student. So for educators, it's a very simple interface. Again, you'll get either you'll create the account, you get added as a sponsor, you add your students, and all of that, you do that on your My Bookshare page. You can see what other educators from your school or district are also on your Bookshare account by selecting the sponsors link. It will show, their district and their school. And that is just pretty much how everyone accesses the Bookshare account. So unlike some other software where everyone has they just use it for themselves, the Bookshare accounts are, kind of what we consider like a shared account, where educators, whether in the school building or across the district, are all logging in and accessing the same account. I can see the students on the account and the other teachers. So that just makes it really easy. Teachers, as you know, come and go, there's turnover. The students will then, still they don't lose their access because there's other district or school educators who can support them in the meantime. So my Bookshare page is the educator dashboard to kind of do everything Bookshare. And then you find the books by searching the collection, either in the simple search, advanced search. And then we do have a browse page that has special collections put together by the Bookshare librarian team. These are updated frequently. There's the New York Times fiction and nonfiction bestsellers. They get updated whenever the New York Times updates their listings, featured books, then books for kids. So again, a lot of options if you're not quite sure what books you want your students to read, looking for ideas. In the educators section, there's books according to accelerated reader scores, the different Lexile levels, the different leveled reader series that some districts might be using, Fontes and Pinnell, or the I Can Read, the HMH leveled readers. So these are just all the books that we have in our collection that are part of that series. And again, they have them by the different categories and grade levels. I've been hearing a lot about these leveled reader collections that are used a lot with students who are receiving additional supports, whether that's through their UDL framework or an MTSS or response to intervention program. So it's those students who have been identified as needing those supports. So super easy to assign the book. Again, just using that assign button, selecting the students, they have instant access to their books. So that is how a teacher would interact with Bookshare. I'll sign in and as a student, so you can see their reading experience. And I think when you see how easy it is for students to read, that's where a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, like that light bulb goes off, that for these students who need books in different formats, they have often been limited to what a district might have on hand or what the state can provide. And here in California, there is the Clearinghouse of Specialized Media and Technology that provides a lot of assistance, especially around books in Braille and other audiobooks. But typically there is a request process where an educator has to request it, then wait for it to be sent to them. With Bookshare, everything is just in the cloud and available immediately. So you've assigned your books to your student. They know they need to read 2 chapters of a book for homework, or perhaps there's an independent reading time in school. When other kids are reading the books they're holding in their hand, the Bookshare students can log into their device and see their books that their teachers have assigned to them. So they just see that under their assigned books tab. And then they read the book they want. And maybe it's a specific book they've been told to read, or they can choose what they want. They simply hit that read now button and the book opens in the browser. There's nothing to download. There's no files to deal with. It just opens in a new browser tab. And from here, they can customize it to what works best for them. So the Bookshare books do use the voices that are built into whichever device they are using. I am on a PC in the Edge browser. So from here, I can see Microsoft makes a lot of voices available, but only through the Edge browser. For students who are on, say, a Chromebook, there's some voices built into the Chromebook itself that will show up under voice. And there's a couple different options, I believe, on Chromebooks. So students can pick the voice that they prefer. They can select the speed. And then for the text, they can change the font size. Again, for some students, they might just need a larger font. They can change character spacing to have more white space in between the characters. They can adjust the margins, small, medium, or large, and also the line spacing. For some students, having wider line spacing helps them track the words and follow along with the reading. So again, it's all personal preference, and students have the independence to set it up to what works best for them. They have the different color presets with the white background and dark text, or a dark background and light text, or some muted color schemes. Again, different things work better for different students, but this really gives them the independence to set it up how they wish. The system does sentence and word level highlighting, and there's a range of colors that they can choose from. They get that all set up. There's table of contents where they can start reading where they wish, and they can advance pages. And then they just simply hit play or double click to read.
Harry struggled to raise himself out of the debris of metal and leather that surrounded him. His hands sank into inches of muddy water as he tried to stand. He could not understand where Voldemort.
You can see it's doing that sentence and word level highlight. The way I have it set up here, there's very few, there's not a lot of text on the page, which again, can be very beneficial for some students if that makes it easier for them to follow along. So again, very customizable to meet the needs of every learner. Students also have the option of accessing the book just as an audio file. They can choose to download the audio and just listen to it. Perhaps they're going on a car trip and they're going to listen on their MP3 player or smartphone. Some people do better just listening, and even having that highlighting is distracting. Others might need to, if they read in Braille, they can download, the BRF is the format used in some digital Braille devices. Daisy Text is another digital file format that's used with some Braille devices. So every title is available in all these different formats. So depending on what type of assistive technology a student might be using that requires a specific file format, chances are they can get that from Bookshare. Again, no special equipment is needed. I think these days most students have a laptop or have a Chromebook provided to them by their district, so they could just simply read it with that Read Now button on their device. There's mobile. We have a Bookshare Reader mobile app that is free for iOS and Android, and there's other reading tools that integrate with Bookshare that offer a whole host of other assistive technology features and other enhancements that, in addition to reading Bookshare books, they can put in a URL and read anything on their screen. So it's really really flexible and a lot of options for reading the books. There's some links in our PowerPoint that has more information about the different tools that students can use. But again, what I think educators really like is that you can use Bookshare entirely for free, whether you're using our reading tools or some of the other great assistive technology products that are out there. So that's just kind of the quick demo of how students can read their Bookshare books. Going to go back to the PowerPoint for a second. Okay, so what I would suggest if you're interested in using Bookshare is first find out if your school or district has a Bookshare account. If not, it's very easy to sign up, just bookshare.org and hit the sign up button. Sometimes these accounts are set up by the assistive technology department or the special ed department. So chances are there might already be a Bookshare account for your school or district. On your My Bookshare page, you would add your qualified students, assign books, and then help students read. I think once you show them how to set things up and the flexibility they have, they catch on pretty quickly. And then I wanted to mention to keep Bookshare in mind for students who may be identified as being at risk for dyslexia or other learning disabilities. As you might be aware, California has mandated universal screening, and that will start in the 2025-2026 school year, where all students grade K through 2 must be screened for having a potential reading or learning disability. The screenings are not going to diagnose anybody. but we'll identify these students who there might be something going on that is interfering with their comprehension, their decoding. And these are the students who really could benefit for having the accessible materials through Bookshare. So I know that is coming up soon. I believe at the end of this year, the different screening instruments are going to be identified, and the state will have a big push of getting educators trained. But there will definitely be a need for more supports for these kids who are identified as needing some additional support and services. So we often get asked, what are some of the best practices for utilizing Bookshare? So again, teachers are already have lesson plans that they have built around the different books that they're using, the textbooks. So for the students who use Bookshare, they would just be reading their books through the Bookshare platform, and can be incorporated into other classroom activities such as independent reading sessions if students have dedicated reading time. But if not, you can really encourage students to read Bookshare books at home. Find genres that are highly engaging for students. You can assign books for pleasure reading, not just what they need for their classwork. And I think when students learn that reading can be really fun, that they can read just for fun and not for school, that can really encourage them to read. And Bookshare has such a wide variety of genres and topics and books for all ages and reading levels. There's surely something for everybody. Look for the textbooks and other required readings that your district has identified for the school year, and search the collection and see if we have it in Bookshare. If not, you can easily request what is not needed, and we do our best to get it into the collection. We typically recommend that you do that, maybe over the summer if you know what you will be using for the next school year. Sometimes these books are identified, years in advance. So, check to see what we have. I think chances are you'll find it, but you can request what we don't have. And we also have found that it's really helpful if someone at the district level is designated as the Bookshare point person, someone that just has the overall responsibility for ensuring that educators across the district know about Bookshare, that there is an account that they can use with their students, that they receive, initial training on how to use Bookshare, that it's encouraged, maybe mentioned in newsletters that go out to teachers, or listed, say the assistive technology department has a website of resources, or the technology department lists the different platforms that the school is using. Make sure Bookshare is listed there so educators know that that is available to them. So these are just some of the things that we have found that help spread that Bookshare awareness and get kids using it. Because it's one thing to create an account and have it, but really, there's no benefit if kids aren't reading. So we just encourage educators to share information through their communication channels that they might have throughout their district. We have some great links that are here, and you will get a copy of the PowerPoint. The Help and Learning Center, the ABCs of Bookshare for Educators, kind of cover all the different, how to assign the books, how to find the books, all the different ways of doing that, along with our partner reading tools and the Bookshare Reader. We also have a link to the California Department of Education. We have created a reading list based on the recommended literature list for 2024. We had a good percentage of the books that were on the list for this year. So you can find those all just easily in one place through that link. There's also an online training module that goes into more in depth about Bookshare and accessible education materials if you want to learn more. So thank you again for joining today. And Leah, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add?
There's one more. We just wanted to make everyone aware, one more slide of the California UDL Summit that is coming up January 30th and 31st. And I know Laura will be there presenting on Bookshare. So there is a link in the slides for registration for that event. And then on the next slide, we just wanted to share through open access, we have flip kits for UDL, AT, and AAC. So you can take a look to increase accessibility for your students. And then the last piece, we have our contact. Well, follow us on social media for sure. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And then the last slide is our contact information. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Open Access or to Laura at Benetech. And we thank you for learning more about Bookshare, and feel free to reach out to us at any time. And thank you, Laura, so much for sharing all of this information.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Everyone.